Thank you very much, Louise, for this opportunity to speak. It's quite intimidating to share the stage with all of these people. My name is Maree. I'm a mathematics teacher, and I am a co-founder at Paper Video. I used to be a mathematics teacher and actually an ex-student at Westerford High School. I remember your sons well, sir. And I then, having been a student and teacher at Westerford, I had my full of being in the leafy green suburbs and decided that it was my time to experience what the majority of South African students experience and go to the dusty townships. I was very lucky to become a teacher at a school called COSAT, the Center of Science and Technology in Khayelitsha. And an interesting thing that I feel that I learned there was that I think it is fair to say that there are obviously many things that can impact upon the education of a child. Obviously, your home situation is one that impacts massively. But one which I think makes a significant difference is the fact that a teacher can make all the difference. A good teacher, no matter the situation, no matter the infrastructure that you find yourself in, you can make an unbelievable difference if you are willing to go that extra mile for your learners. And an excellent example of that, and I don't want to take anything away from Namhla Juku's achievement, but we had a learner at COSAT who became the second best performer in quintile 3 schools in the country. She got 99% for maths. She was very wise to only lift her head up every now and then in my maths class and then get back to actually her studies instead of listening to me bumble through my explanations. And she also got 100% for physics. And this is a learner who came from the township, and let it be said that that's not possible without massively hard work on her part, and she is a brilliant mind as well. But dare I say it, if she also didn't have access to teachers who understood the content and who can teach passionately and light a fire in her belly, it would not necessarily have been that situation. So I came from that experience saying that a teacher can make all the difference. And we've heard about some horrifying statistics. I'll share one more with you that I read in the SACMEX. SACMEC 3 recently showed that our top 4% of grade 6 learners can outperform the bottom 7% of our grade 6 teachers. And that's a very difficult thing to swallow. And so when you think that a teacher can make such a difference, that is why we wanted to create a resource where we could share teachers with South Africa. And we think that technology is an amazing way to actually share good quality education all over the country, irrespective of the situation. But that is the big key. If you want to use technology, you have to take into account the reality on the ground floor. You have to take into account the reality that, for example, internet and data is unattainable for so many learners in South Africa. You need to take into account the reality that very often, when you want to get resources to students, it sometimes is the management of many schools that is the obstacle to get those resources to those students. And if you want a piece of technology to be successful, you really have to take all of those things into account. So with that being said, I was so excited when an old acquaintance of mine approached me with this idea called Paper Video. And without further ado, I'm going to demonstrate it for you. And I'm then going to share with you how we have really enjoyed a warm and strong relationship with Partners for Possibility. And I cannot overemphasize the importance of the core message of Partners for Possibility, that civil society, government, and business needs to work together. And we are trying to fit ourselves into that model. We are wanting to be part of the civil society, part of the business as well, that really works together to create these resources and make them available for everyone. So, I'm going to take you on a journey back to matric mathematics. The nightmares return. Lovely, some circle geometry over there. Trigonometry, how lovely. Let me just quickly get this back. There we go. Now, these are books of past exam papers. This is our matric maths book. And we do now grade 8 to 12 maths, physical sciences, life sciences, and accounting. And you'll notice that next to each question in these exams is a little QR code. And the concept behind it is this. As a student, you're working through the exams. You're trying to make sure that you could do each and every single problem. You're going, okay, 6.2, write down the period of G, easy days, I got you, done. 6.3, h of x is equal to minus cos 2x plus 10, blah, 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 blah. Easy days, chilled. And then you get to 6.4, and you're like, what is going on here? Have a little look at the back, it's hieroglyphics to me, okay? And the idea behind our resource is that you will be able to, well, this is one of the ways that you can access the resource. We have a little paper video app, and I will be able to go ahead and scan this QR code over here. Bloop, bloop. And then a video of a teacher in need of a haircut will pop up. Okay. So this is paper video. This is the concept behind it, that a student will be able to scan the question and watch a solution for that particular question. I'll skip ahead. It's just, I never get used to this. Ooh, sine and tan graphs, yummy. Okay, ooh, and I've chosen a doozy of a question to scan as well. This is why we call it paper video. It essentially looks like a piece of paper, but ultimately it's a video of me explaining the question. When I write things in black ink, that's what I would expect a student to write to actually get the marks. But everything I do, like highlighting in yellow or writing in red, is the theory, it's the concept, it's the information behind the question. So we very much try and create a mini lesson for each question. A little lesson that you get the particular explanation that you need for that particular question. And that's essentially the resource. In this book, there's about 600 questions. Thinking of the studio time to make those send shivers down my spine. And we have about, wow, we do this for 5 grades now across 4 subjects, and I think we just hit over 10,000 solution videos. They amount to about 800 hours of extra teaching. And what we feel that we have created is a resource for learners who don't necessarily have the opportunity to access good teachers at their own school. We've tried to also create a resource which makes it a thing of the past, that the privilege of a private extra tutor is only for those that can afford it. And with a pilot project that we did with the Department of Basic Education last year, we've also discovered that we've created a resource where teachers do not feel threatened or opposed to it. It's actually a resource where you can anonymously go and brush up on a little concept that perhaps you don't feel entirely confident teaching, and then the next day go and teach that. It reminds me very much of my first few years of teaching, always one lesson ahead. And I think that some of you are already noticing the potential big obstacle, thank you so much, that we have for making this a resource that can actually be used by all South Africans, and that is the obstacle of data and the internet. Now, I'm very pleased to say that I did not use the data and the internet for that particular explanation. Come now, phone. What I used instead was a micro SD card at the back of my phone, which I'll quickly take out. There we go. So that little guy is an 8 gigabyte micro SD card. We can put almost all of our videos onto a 32 gigabyte. This one just has all the resources for Matric on it. And as a result, I was able to watch that video without internet, without requiring data. And what's lovely about that is that we can then throw that into a computer with a USB adapter and then watch resources from there. With such little time left, I'm going to end off with a tiny little video that will show how we operate. We have a business model that essentially includes 2 clients, if you will. One of our clients are students and parents who are in the financial position to afford the resource, but obviously there are a majority of learners in South Africa who don't necessarily, or aren't necessarily able to afford the resource. We don't think that 200 Rand for a book that gives you access to 50 hours or so of teaching is too expensive, but for very many students in the country, that is too expensive. 200 Rand is a lot of money. And so we partner with businesses and we partner with the Actuarial Society of South Africa, and we then do rollouts that see us getting our resources to